What's up, Digidestins? It's the most exciting time of the year, isn't it? Whenever we get close to a new set, we get a new tier list. So, without further ado, let's dive into this tier list and talk about all the good shit that we need to talk about. So before we get even started though, guys, I'm excited to talk about, I waited to the last possible second to do this tier list. Multiple reasons, because I knew there was a restriction list coming. We had to wait for that. And I didn't want to rehash anything that the restriction list might have changed when I was getting closer to this wall. And to make two tiers with that information coming forwards, let's talk about all the goodies we can. This random, first off, Jessamon. Jessamon is still a good, solid deck. I think it's good, but it definitely needs some more. Jessamon can do shenanigans, can take down a tier 2 deck, a tier 1 deck, if it snowballs correctly. With cards like Magnamon X and all that, it does decently well with what you need to do. At the end of the day, I still think it's a really solid deck, can still handle local level, but once it gets into higher competitive, after round 5, it starts falling off or shows signs of wear and tear, where the deck just kind of struggles at its finest. Venusmon, which is the normal setcon kind of shenanigan, definitely a gatekeeper. It's still, actually, nah, I wouldn't even say it's a gatekeeper. With the amount of trashing setcon has to deal with, I think the big emphasis on good, but definitely needs more, is starting to prevalent. New cards keep showing up that just basically says trash security. I don't care about what you're doing. I spit out 12 bodies, go for it, chief. That kind of situation isn't terrible, but we're getting to the point where it does not matter. Setcon's not becoming as big of a threat anymore. Bloomlord, definitely still feel like it's a good gatekeeper deck. Holds up with the meta always. I mean, when this deck goes, it goes. I mean, definitely good for the local level, but outside of that, I don't see it holding long-term in tournaments. It could definitely do that if it sees the right matchups, right situation, all that good stuff. And definitely that local level is better than most when you bring it in, but that's just me letting you know. Phoenixmon is definitely still a great gatekeeper deck. It hasn't gone anywhere, I think, since its conception and in the format. The deck still has a lot of viability, especially with the new restriction list. What used to be its worst matchups kind of faded out a little bit and now has a little bit better standing, in my opinion. Marsmon, definitely a dead fucking deck. This deck hasn't done anything, needs to do something, just needs more support. Just give Marsmon something to work with, because it's not working what you got, chief. Mirage, definitely still, I think, crazy strong. It definitely puts a lot of pressure on the tier 2 decks, everything like that. I don't see it going anywhere from tier 1 anytime soon. I mean, yeah, we'll see it phase out a little bit here and there depending on the meta and what people are justifying the best deck in the format, but definitely crazy strong. Digimon, dead deck, just still does fucking nothing. I mean, with the new Vortex stuff, you can do crazy shenanigans. It's gotta just give it better support kind of situation, but I think it's still not what it needs to be. Justimon is definitely getting new support soon, so we're still calling this a dead fucking deck. It can OTK when it goes off. If you see the nuts, it can kill your opponent, but you still need to see the goddamn nuts. If you don't see it, get the fuck out of here. Black War Greymon, as much as I would love to say it's a good gatekeeper, it's not anymore. To be straight honest, it's fallen off to the point where it's good, but it definitely needs a bit more. If they had unrestricted its Greymon X antibody, I think it would have made it back into the meta fold. Not like tier 1 status, but definitely tier 2, but it definitely has fallen off. Crossheart shenanigans. This is the Merva Crossheart. Good, just give it a better support at this point, and I think that's really where it's coming at. Galacticmon, just give it better support. I think it does quite well once it gets its next wave of support in 18, but right now it just needs that support, and I think it bumps up just a little bit to good, maybe tier 2, bottom of tier 2, not saying like top end, but definitely a decent way up. Then we do have Emperor Greymon. Definitely lost a little bit consistency with its Uku. It can still do something. It's good, but it definitely needs a little bit more. I mean, yes, you can combo it in and play it with the ancient counterpart, but I think the ancient counterpart's just a little bit better than its Emperor focus variant, because without the Uku, you're kind of slowed down a little bit. Gallant Boy here. Gallant Boy is good, but definitely needs a bit more. No matter how much support this damn deck gets, and I'm being straight honest with you, it is always too fair. Like, what is going on, Bandai? Everybody else gets protection. Galamon, just come the fuck on. Get off your high horse at this point. I'm being straight honest with you. It's a fair deck. It can play at the local levels consistently. It's a good deck for players across the board, but at the end of the day, I still feel like we're just pushing fair boys. All Force definitely is good, but definitely needs some more. It can play with the tier 2 boys. Sometimes sneak wins in the tier 1, but right now I don't see it. This Imperial Dramon, we're gonna just say fuck it. I need to remove it. Shine Greymon. Shine Greymon's is definitely a good deck. I think walking into the current format with the restriction, it's definitely a gatekeeper. Definitely holds up with the meta. Right pilot, right understanding of the deck. New support is really good. I'm not even joking. This shit is the best what you can do. Mugen's good. Needs a bit more, in my opinion. It needs some rework. The way there's been a new Machine Dramon in any capacity. It's all over the fucking place. I mean, what, we're on 3 new Mugens and none of them want to play with the old Mugen? I don't know what to tell you guys. Bandai, what are you doing to this deck? Like, we get new support. Chaos Dramon's like the big thing, and then that's about it. Evil Hunters, just give it better support. The shenanigans that it used to do with Quartzmon. Quartzmon is now super easily outed, and it's getting to show its wear. Hunters, I still think it's a good deck. Definitely moving down to tier 3 category. It could definitely steal some wins in the tier 2, but tier 1's just a little too fast, in my opinion, for it to hold. Beelzemon, definitely still that tier 2 category. A little bit faster than the tier 3s. I mean, the hits definitely still showing its wear on it, but definitely holding its strengths. We got Bagra Army, good, but definitely needs some more support. Still surprised we haven't seen jack diddly squat for this deck in the new BT19. I still don't know how this is going to work. Crossheart, same thing, good, but definitely needs some more boost. It's not like that new support's going to change much. The deck's going to probably bump up into tier 2, but it's not going to break it. You know what? Royal Knights definitely moved up a little bit from tier 3, in my opinion, to now steadily staying in tier 2. The reason why I say this is because the new Shoto definitely helps the deck a little bit, and all the new aces that keep happening, you're now able to interact on your opponent's turn with your guys. That's sometimes all you need to stop your opponent. And with the way it works, that aces now just can go under your and you don't lose the memory is really cool. Contour it, just give it better support at this point. It's just not doing anything. Even I would just say it's like a dead deck until it gets something. You know, people want to say Nume's dead. I think it went from being tier 1 to tier 2 to maybe tier 3. I think the hits were just enough to make the deck fall off a little bit, where every deck kind of just became fair ground to what this deck is trying to do. And they really chose the way to kill the deck. I think now with decks now being a lot faster, I mean, you have Imperial Dramon that you're now able to do what you need to and not have to worry about shenanigans is important. And I think this is just showing where it resolves. Chessmon, dead deck as fuck. There is no reason to talk about this. Balphamon is definitely still a good gatekeeper holder. It just does what it wants to. I mean, it did lose a little bit of its tempo with losing one of the Ukus. That definitely sped up the deck where it needed to. So I think it's definitely still tier 2. It's not as high on tier 2 as it used to be. I think it's going to be low end. I'll go Loop, Dog Loop. I'm going to say it's definitely a tier 2 deck. Dog Loop is just Dog Loop. It's when it goes off, it goes off. Am I going to say it's tier 1? No, but the fact that the interactions make it so it's just there. Local level, this is a terror nightmare to deal with, and even in the tier 2 category, it's a nightmare to deal with. Yeah, that's just gonna be your big issue at the end of the day. Patamon is Patamon. The vaccine kind of got hurt a bit here, boys and girls. I'm gonna be straight on. Do I have Dominionmon on here? Yeah, but yellow vaccine in general, the old way of playing it, it's the TK missing really hurt the deck a bit. Same thing with Seraphic kind of shenanigan. It's definitely showing its wear. Rosemon's definitely good, but needs some more going for it. D Brigade, good, but definitely needs some more. Like, this is old Fenry Luga with just some of the new support, not focusing on Takamazuchi and shit. So just keep that in mind. War Greymon is War Greymon. I still feel like it's solid enough. It's good, but definitely needs some more support now. It hasn't had any new support, thank God, in a while, but it became less War Greymon, the card game. Plesiomon's X-Antibot, just give it better fucking support at this point. Gatomon's deck, basically same thing, good, but definitely needs a bit more. Kabuterimon, not focusing on Tyrant, good, but definitely needs some more. Definitely same thing with Rosemon, just needs some more support. D-Brigade, Digipolice, good, but definitely needs some more. I don't see it as tier 2. Metal Garuma, pretty solid tier 3 deck in my opinion. Apocalypse, I think just because the Balfamon Apocalypse deck exists, I think it's definitely a good gatekeeper. Good into locals, better into tier 3s and tier 2s, can definitely do something into the tier 1 category, and I think this is where it's going to sit. Yellow Armors, we're at 3, definitely needs some more support. It's just not as good as it wants to be. Valkyrie 8, definitely tier 2, not tier 1. The Valkyrie deck is just Valkyrie. It does what it wants. 7, Great Dragon, Trial of the Great Dragon, definitely pretty solid. It still forces taunts and ace shenanigans. Don't know if it's gonna phase out, but I think they're still very solid tier 2 decks. Imperial Dramon, no questions asked, crazy strong, tier 1. I mean, it's gonna probably get affected and maybe move down to tier 2, but it handles this board quite well with no issues, in my opinion. Taking a look at Tyrant Kabuteri is definitely a tier 2 deck. I don't see any issues with its design, and I think it's pretty hold strong. Black-based Doru is definitely a tier 2 deck. I wouldn't scream tier 1 here, but black base with the protection to bounce, it's just a meta call, and if you're really afraid of bouncing, you kind of go with black base and you're heavy blue. I think it does well a little bit better into the blue meta, and that's just kind of where I'm standing. Myotismon Loop, tier 3 at best. It can go shenanigans into a locals and make your opponent have a bad time, but outside of that, nothing too crazy. Rapidmon, definitely thinking it's right here, boys. I think this is where we're gonna say Rapid X is, you know, going. I think Gatekeepers still does good shit into the local meta, but outside of that, nothing too crazy. Magna, yellow-based Vaccine Magna, definitely a tier 2 deck. Can still climb up the big events. It's slowed down a little bit. I think it's going to take some time to get the resources right. Then we do have Red Ancient Greymon, definitely a tier 2 deck. Very solid, very powerful deck. Ancient Garuru, blue based is actually a little bit more consistent now, can do more crazy shenanigans where red base would have been the better crazy strong deck. But I think Ancient Garuru is definitely, even though the Uku's got hit, it's definitely holding a little bit better here. Just give it goddamn better support. This girl is struggling. It doesn't even have its LMM support, and I think that's what's hurting the deck a little bit. It would definitely be a tier 3, but right now it's just give it the better support. Pulsemon's good with the Takamazuchi shenanigans it's trying to do. I wouldn't scream tier 2. Definitely tier 3 can go into tier 2s, but once it starts seeing the tier 1 decks, it kind of folds a little bit. Argomon, same thing, good, but definitely needs some support. It can do a little bit of fun shenanigans, but outside of that, nothing. Choo-choo trains, give it better goddamn support at this point. Full base Dexteru, definitely feel like it's the top of tier 2. I would love to say, actually, I would say purple base is a little bit more better into the format. I think it's still a strong tier 1 deck. Like, I personally play it. I don't want to say that it's the best deck, but definitely tier 1, tier 2 top. And I feel like it's a little bit better than the most of the tier 2 decks just because of how it plays and it rewards for being a smart player. And I think that's very vital in this strat. Eosmon's definitely a tier 2 deck. A very powerful tier 2 deck, to be honest with you. When it sticks, it's scary as fuck. Definitely a tier 2 deck. The deck got better going into the format, and I think this is where it's going to go. Takamazu, I think is tier 1 status. A little bit of the format changed up, and what it used to have a really bad time in disappeared with all the hits, and the format slowed down a little bit, so this deck now can do a little bit better into it. Raymon OTK, Gatekeeper tier 2. Same thing with, you know, these boys here. They're just really solid. Millith is still solid enough. Beth definitely needs some support. Big Omni Slam Down. You know the drill here. This is basically Apocalypse 2. This is the Great Master, Dark Masters. Definitely a tier 2 deck. Can go off. When it goes off, it's very hard into the tier 2s. They can do stuff, but outside of that, nothing too crazy. Waiting on the ace, Ugu definitely hurt. The 3 hits to this deck was just phenomenal. It definitely brought this deck down a bit. It's just not doing what it needs to anymore. Blue hybrid shenanigans. I would definitely say the old style play is definitely a dead deck. Lucimon, well, Angelomon deck. 8 armor is still a tier 1 deck. Definitely looking like our tier 1 category has 4. Yeah, nothing too crazy came out of this. It's good, but definitely needs some more. So Alphamon, definitely tier 2, tier 3, not as tier 2 as it used to be. Even with the new support, it struggles even going up to it. Mother D Reaper, even though Shoto is a combination, we can't just push it up here because you don't want to be risking your mother swinging into everything. So I definitely say it's tier 3. Can go into tier 2 pretty comfortably with no questions asked, but when you start getting to tier 1s, they're just a little bit faster than you want them to be. Doro Brick is Doro Brick. Good, can OTK the tier 2s if it gets the right pieces opened up, but we'll have to see long term. Dragon Link's actually got the new support, and I think it's actually solid enough to say it's a tier 2 deck. Nothing too crazy out of the ordinary. The new support actually helped the deck in ways that it needed. Aximon's good, but definitely needs some more TLC. Wouldn't put it too high on the tier 3. Chaos Galamon tier 3 as well. Blue Flare is you respect the deck or you get fucked, and that's kind of where that's going. Dead ass fucking deck is great. Knightsmon, this is the Alter S deck. Good, but definitely needs some more support. Dark Knightmon, good, but needs some actually, I would just say right now the format it's going into is definitely a dead ass fucking deck. The aces are not plentiful enough for it to actually hold its own, and we just need Lord Knightmon actually ace, and we should be a little bit better. This is Gaiomon. Gaiomon's just okay. Definitely needs better support at this point. Just needs a bit more. The Greymon, all the Greymon decks needs better love. Another version of Setcon. There's like a couple floating about. This one is more focused on options, while paired to the other Setcon was focused more on ace control kind of shenanigans. Ravemon's definitely a dead fucking deck. Trubimon with all the Trubimon support and the Entila is good, but definitely need more support if it's going to do anything. I don't see it in Gatekeepers. Leopardmon plus Vortex shenanigans is definitely a tier 2 deck. That Vortex Leopard is just ridiculous. Edamon, good, but actually I would just say it's tier 2. The deck still got support and it's really solid. Anubismon doing its restriction shenanigans. Deck's pretty solid. I think it still handles the tier 2 decks like a good boy. Levia actually does a little bit better into this format because there is less it has to worry about. Now that protections happen, you can pop things a little bit easier. You're not dealing with all these other bullshit like the Ukus and, you know, Mirage just going burr on you. You die pretty quickly, but I think Levia is pretty solid. Galaxy Loop, which is similar to Dog Loop, tier 2. When it goes off, it's scary. Galaxy itself, I think, is a very solid tier 2 deck. It's the Hexablow definitely helped the deck out because now it can just trade with bodies just without having to worry, because who's going to beat these stacks that are this high in quantity? Fenglong, definitely tier 2 bottom end. 7 Great Demon Lords with Shoto in it, definitely a tier 1 deck. I think we're pretty solid there. What's very funny is it's blue purple meta basically at this point. Ragna, Lordmon. If the deck goes off, it goes off, guys, and I think it's pretty solid to the tier 2. Fishy Bird, tier 3. It can do some things, but nothing too crazy. Mastemon struggles because searching for this deck sucks ass, but at the end of the day, really solid. Digimon definitely took a good hit to itself. It just does not know what the hell it wants to do. Shikoka, whatever the hell that is. This deck here, tier 3, nothing too crazy. Trubimon, fantastic. If we were ranking aces and cards in general, this would probably be a tier 1 card, but just tier 3 at the moment. Diaboromon, definitely tier 2. Deck can do shenanigans even at regional levels. Just after a certain point, the deck just phases out. Then we have Agramon, this motherfucker here trying to keep your hand size down. Just give it better support. It needs its X antibody to do anything here. Alexa Black, I saw this do well. I would say it just needs better support at this point. It needs more Ice Clad shenanigans. Once it gets that, I think it moves up to tier 2 very comfortably, but right now, tier 3. Cinderella, I think Cinder is basic tier 3 right now. Definitely the hits definitely help this deck up to move up a little bit. I think it's going to be top tier 3 going into tier 2 category, but we'll have to wait and see if it actually makes the meta dominant, does anything meta relevant. Vortex Warriors, very solid tier 2 deck. Wouldn't call it a tier 1. Leopard Vortex is a little bit better than regular Vortex in my opinion, because Leopard just plays the Vortex guy. I think it's pretty solid. Then we do have Nature Spirits. Nature Spirits good, but definitely needs support for it to do anything. Lilithmon, I think Lilithmon is really solid. Gatekeeper holds up, just opens up the field to it. Bellastar, definitely Beelzestar. With its X antibody now counterpart, it's a dead deck. There is no way you making that deck do anything. I'm sorry. Black Blockers, the hybrid shenanigans is going to get. I definitely would say it moves up to tier 1 categories, but right now, no. Then we have Bellastar, Three Musketeers. I think Three Musketeers going into the format now, with the restrictions that got in play, deck improves itself and goes into the tier 2 Gatekeepers. Shadramon, Imperial Dramon, shenanigans. Tier 3, if you hit all the tier 2 decks, you can actually do quite well into the format. Outside of that, I would not scream its praises. We talked about Greymon OTK, so we're not going to care about this one. Ukumon, fucking dead deck. Rookie Rush Uku is gone. Let's be straight honest, it is gone. Rusty Tyranno is good, but it's definitely a dead deck. You're not doing anything with Rusty. Gamamon, where the hell did you go, bud? Gamamon tier 3, nothing too crazy. Amphimon, just give it better support. Arbamon or Angoramon, Darabi, dead deck, just does nothing. And then purple base Metal Garurumon. I think with the unrestriction, it's definitely a little bit better. I think it's definitely tier 3 at this point. To be honest with you, a lot of tier 2s moved down with this list, and I'm going to be straight. They can't all be that good, and yeah, it does well into local meta, which tier 3 is kind of more local meta anyway, unless you're very hyper competitive. But I think all in all, we're looking at very solid tier list here. I think nothing too out of the ordinary here. I think Blue Armors is a little bit better than its Yellow Vaccine counterpart now, just because Blue Armors is going to do better. And tier 2, there's a lot of good decks, especially if you are a great pilot at it. You can handle the tier 1 decks, but at the end of the day, this is kind of where we're going at. I know that only a couple new decks kind of moved into the fray of tier 2, and that's not surprising because, let's be straight, there's nothing too crazy out of the ordinary here. The loop decks kind of are a little bit scary to deal with. My renditions here, I think this is pretty good. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.